Along this video, we continue to learn how to manage money using this book, lessons from this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And this is actually video number 28. Join me. Hello, welcome to Take a Step to a Better You. On this channel, I share what I know and I continue to learn. And in this video, I'm sharing how to manage money. We're learning lessons by Robert Kiyosaki from his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you are new, my name is Sherifa Nakalema. I'm a business owner here in Virginia, USA. And on this channel, I share business tips, YouTube tips, earning money online tips through affiliate marketing. I record motivational videos to encourage you to take a step to make your life better. And recently, I added talking about books, reviewing books, but I review them in detail, actually. We go like looking out at everything. I skip just a little. So we started this book. This was number 1. Soon we'll add another one and another one, as long as we continue to watch them. And if all these, what I just mentioned, sounds interesting, especially the message of making our lives better, taking those steps we need in all areas to make our lives better, sounds good, please consider supporting this message by subscribing, by sharing, but more importantly, by leaving a comment. That's the only way I'll know you watched this video. If you didn't leave a comment, I might as well, it's like you didn't come here because I won't know. I see the numbers saying views, but I don't know who viewed. So please, let me know you are here by saying something, leaving something in the comment, okay? Now, today, we are continuing a lesson. Actually, we're starting a new lesson, but if I go to that, I need to thank you, the ones who have been coming and commenting and doing all those things, especially those who come when the videos are premiering. Thank you very much. Please always leave a comment also after the premiered video. After you leave the chat and then leave a comment. At the end of this video, I'm going to share how you get this book, and I'm also going to share my update. Remember, I promised I'm going to talk to Audible. I finally did, and I have an answer. And also, I'm going to share the schedule here, how I manage this schedule, which is daily. I think, have I thanked you? The ones who keep coming? I think I haven't. Thank you so much. And I hope you have subscribed. Please subscribe and click on the bell so that YouTube reminds you. And when you click on the bell, you have to select all, but you have to have notifications on your phone. If you don't, still, it doesn't help because they can't notify you. Okay, let's get into this lesson. I have to remind you, and this time I'm not even reminding you of the previous video. I'm reminding you what you have finished so far. The book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, has 6 lessons, 6 chapters. So we have finished 3 chapters out of 6. And I've recorded so far 27 videos. Can you imagine? From the time I introduced the whole thing of starting books, I've recorded 27 videos, and they are in a link in a pinned comment. You know, the first comment on top is by me, and it has the link to those videos for those of you who are just coming. And if you missed any, there is a link that takes you to all of them. I'm not going to mention the 6 lessons, but I'm going to mention the 3 we have finished, because recently I reviewed the 6. In chapter 1, we finished The Rich Don't Work for Money. And I covered so many videos of that. Very interesting. And then number 2, in chapter 2, we covered Why Teach Financial Literacy. That's why we learned the difference between an asset and a liability. And number 3, the one we just finished, it was mind your own business. Whatever you do, you have to take care of yourself. You have to create those assets. Now, we are starting lesson number 4, which is called The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporation. When you see me reading here, it means everything came from here, but I was trying to summarize. I put it outside. But if I go to lesson 4, I have to remind everyone who is Robert Kiyosaki, the one who wrote the book. He's a self-made millionaire. When you see me reading, it means I got from the book. Self-made millionaire, entrepreneur. He's an educator. He's an investor with a mission to elevate the financial well-being of humanity, starting with one life and one person at a time. starting with you and me, one, one, one. And then in the end, I don't know how many people have mentioned since I started doing this, they read the book. Some, I bought the book, I didn't finish it. They all remind, many people know about the book. Remember I mentioned it sold over 40 million copies. That was some time ago. I think now it's in 50 million. So many people are aware of this book, even if they didn't buy it, but they are aware. So it's a great book. And he named it Rich Dad Poor Dad because of he calls it two dads. Actually, he had one real one, but the other one. So the real one, his dad, was the poor one in the story. And he's a very intelligent man, highly educated with a PhD. He was superintendent of education, but he died broke. That's surprising. Now, the rich dad is the dad to his friend Mike, the one he met at age 9. I started learning. We covered all that. Started learning. And the important thing about this rich dad is that he left school at age 13, or just in 8th grade. He never finished like formal education too much, but he ended up being one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. And that's where most of the lessons are coming from. Although by comparing the two dads, we're actually learning from the other one too, the one who didn't make it financially at least. So let's continue. Lesson 4. I'm starting chapter 4, the history of taxes. I'm just doing a little reading, not too long, and then I'll let you know about those other things, like especially what happened with Audible, and then we'll stop. Okay. He said, lesson 4, the history of taxes and the power of corporations. And then he put like a small subheading. My rich dad just played the game smart, and he did through corporations. The biggest secret of the rich. So the corporations are there for a reason. That's where they hide their money. Let's see how they do it. Maybe you're going to learn too. I own a corporation, but let me see. Maybe I'm going to learn some tricks. Okay. Robert is saying, I remember in school being told the story of Robin Hood and his merry men. My teacher thought it was a wonderful story of a romantic hero who robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. Are you familiar with that story? He robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. My rich dad did not see Robin Hood as a hero. He called Robin Hood a crook. Robin Hood was maybe long gone, but his followers live on. I often still hear people say, why don't the rich pay for it? Or the rich should pay more in taxes and give it to the poor. It is this Robin Hood fantasy, or taking from the rich to give to the poor, that has caused the most pain for the poor and the middle class. The reason the middle class is so heavily taxed is because of the Robin Hood idea. The reality is that the rich are not taxed. It's the middle class, especially the educated upper income middle class, who pays for the poor. Again, to understand fully how things happen, we need to look at the history of taxes. Although my highly educated dad was an expert on the history of education, that's his real dad, my rich dad fashioned himself as an expert on the history of taxes. I guess it's important. We better listen now. That's me. Okay, he continues. Rich Dad explained to Mike and me that originally in England and America, there were no taxes. Occasionally, there were temporary taxes levied in order to pay for wars. The king or the president would put the word out and ask everyone to chip in. Taxes were levied in Britain for the fight against Napoleon from 1799 to 1816, and in America to pay for the Civil War from 1861 to 1865. In 1874, England made income tax a permanent levy on its citizens. In 1913, an income tax became permanent in the United States with the adoption of the 16th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. At one time, Americans were anti-tax. It had been the tax on the tea that led to the famous Tea Party in Boston Harbor, an incident that helped ignite the Revolutionary War. It took approximately 50 years in both England and the United States to sell the idea of a regular income tax. What these historical dates fail to reveal is that both of these taxes were initially levied against only the rich. It was the point that Rich Dad wanted Mike and me to understand. He explained that the idea of taxes was made popular and accepted by the majority by letting the poor and the middle class, by telling the poor and the middle class that the taxes were created only to punish the rich. This is how the masses voted for the law, and it took constitutionally, and it was, and I need to read this again, I'm so sorry. The idea of taxes, how it became acceptable. Richard explained that the idea of taxes was made popular and accepted by the majority by telling the poor and the middle class that taxes were created only to punish the rich. This is how the masses voted for the law, and it became constitutionally legal. Although it was intended to punish the rich, in reality, it wound up punishing the very people who voted for it, the poor and the middle class. Once government got a taste of money, its appetite grew, said Rich Dad. Your dad and I are exactly opposite. This is Rich Dad speaking. He is a government bureaucrat and I am a capitalist. We get paid and our success is measured on opposite behaviors. He gets paid to spend money and hire people. The more he spends and the more people he hires, the larger his organization becomes. In the government, a large organization is a respected organization. On the other hand, within my organization, the fewer the people I hire and the less money I spend, the more are respected by my investors. That's why I don't like government people. They have different objectives than most business people. As the government grows, more and more tax dollars are needed to support it. That's the end of Rich Dad, made all that whole statement. This is in brackets. So, or in quotes. My educated dad sincerely believed that government should help people. That's his real dad, Robert's dad. He loved John F. Kennedy, and especially the idea of the Peace Corps. He loved the idea so much that both he and my mom worked for the Peace Corps, training volunteers to go to Malaysia, Thailand, and the Philippines. He always strived, excuse my pronunciation of some words, please. He always strived for additional grants and budget increases so he could hire more people, both in his job with the education department and in the Peace Corps. From the time I was about 10 years old, I would hear from my dad, my rich dad, that government workers were a pack of lazy thieves. And from my poor dad, I would hear how the rich were greedy crooks who should be made to pay more taxes. I want to repeat this because I think this attitude is still available in some people. Although these people they're using like not so good language, but I'm going to read it again. It says, from the time I was about 10 years old, I would hear from my rich dad that government workers were a pack of lazy thieves. And then his real dad, my poor dad, and I would hear, and from my poor dad, I would hear how the rich were greedy crooks who should be made to pay more taxes. I wonder how these two men were friends. They are clearly opposites. So both sides had valid points. It was difficult to go to work for one of the biggest capitalists in town and come home to a father who was a prominent government leader. It was not easy to know which dad to believe. So yet, when you study the history of taxes, an interesting perspective emerges. As I said, the passage of taxes was only possible because the masses believed in the Robin Hood theory of economics. Take from the rich and give to everyone else. The problem was that the government's appetite for money was so great that taxes soon needed to be levied on the middle class, and from there it kept trickling down. However, the rich saw an opportunity because they don't play by the same set of rules. I'm about to end, by the way. The rich knew about corporations, which became popular in the days of sailing ships. The rich created the corporation as a vehicle to limit their risk to the assets of each voyage. The rich put their money into a corporation to finance the voyage. The corporation would then hire a crew to sail to the new world to look for treasure. If the ship was lost, the crew lost their lives, but the loss to the rich would be limited only to the money they invested for that particular voyage. That's such an important point, because if you own, now it's me talking, if you own a corporation, I just stopped reading, by the way. That's why I'm ending the reading. But that last point, when he said, that's the whole idea of corporation. A corporation is separate from you. So like my corporation is separate from me. So the business I do in the corporation doesn't connect with me as a person. That's why a corporation is even given its own tax ID in USA, although a person has a social security number. So it's like separate from you, and you are doing that to separate, to limit risk. Like when a corporation does things, they don't come to your personal assets. That's the whole thing he's going to, but we are stopping here now, but I know that he's going to get into that point. I am elaborating because I have a corporation and I know why I created it. Okay, he has a point for you. Remember those notes he does? He says, the rich are not taxed. The rich will never be taxed. More and more often we see governments use the tax laws to provide incentives to business owners and investors to create jobs and housing. These incentives reduce the taxes of the rich. So the only place for the government to drive tax revenue is from the middle class. I think you have big examples here in USA where the rich, they don't pay taxes. In fact, even you hear Amazon.com. Don't quote me please, but I think I heard in the news how much tax Jeff Bezos pays. Amazon.com, I think you can go research it. It's very, very minimal if he pays any. So it's actually very, very strange. That's the end of this lesson. And we'll continue in 29. Please, what are you getting out of this? We are now talking about the history of taxes. I didn't want to skip it because I thought it was important. Did you ever know how the taxes started? That's how they started. And then they made the poor people vote for them, calling the rich people that they're doing something bad to the rich, so the poor are voting for it, and the middle class. I don't think that was a good reason. Anyway, that's my opinion. Okay, for those of you who are new, even if you're not new, I have something to say about Audible because I've been talking about sponsoring Audible account. I got an answer already, but let me first explain to the new ones. I have a schedule here that's daily. Every day, 11 a.m. USA time, Eastern time, I read the books. I'll call it books. Whatever happens, it may not be this book, but something to do with knowledge as we continue forward. It will be a daily program. And on Friday, I come live at the same time. 11 a.m. US Eastern time, I come live. There's no videos from me on Fridays. But please come live. And then these come up premieres. So please, 11 a.m. US Eastern time, look at your notifications. Please click on the bell so you have the notification so you know that a video is coming from me. It will be books. But then on Thursdays and on Sundays, I have another one coming next at 11:30, and that will be on Thursday, YouTube tips or business tips, and then on Sunday, it will be motivational. Please support this channel by coming to those premieres. They come as premieres because it supports the video. YouTube likes when many people are on the premieres. And what else? The link. All these videos, as I do them, they're all getting into one playlist. It's called Lessons from Robert Kiyosaki. And I linked it in a pinned comment. Where I put comment, the first one on top is me. And I put a link to those videos if you missed any of them. And then there is also a second link in that same comment that takes you to this book. If you want to get it audio form, it's free for 30 days. You just click on the form or that link. It takes you to my website, honestsoul.com. And there is a podcast, and it says podcast and Audible. When you click on that, it will take you to Amazon, Audible, and you can create an account and get it. Make sure you're choosing the Premium Plus at the account, and make sure you have a free credit to listen, free for 1 month. If you want to buy it, still, I have a link on my website. You see this image, you click on it, you can buy it, a physical copy. Now, I finally called Audible. It took me hours. I talk to them all the time, but to get to the right answer I was looking for, because I wanted to create an account. I already have an account, but I wanted to know if you could access it and listen. They said only up to 5. The way it is now, only up to 5 people could access mine. So it turned out it's not a good idea. So I wanted how to do it better so we can have many people. Then they said I'll need a business account. And sorry, now I cannot afford the business account right now, because they said it starts at 800. Where's the amount? 800, I think $847 is what I had to pay, and only 25 people would access that one. So to get to where I feel I want it to go, at least 100 people or more can all go and listen to whatever they want. It will have to be over $2,000. Like I would pay, and I would have up to 50 titles. And all of you, I'll just share my email. I will send you an email, and to have a link and text you and do whatever you want. I wish you could get to that. That would be my wish. Please invite more people. I cannot do it at this moment. I can only allow 5 people. To get to the large numbers, we need to be large right here on the channel. Let's grow this channel so we can get sponsorships, so we can start doing things that will help you. I promise you, if you grow it, we're all going to benefit. Please share my videos or invite more people. Share the videos in groups. This is good information. Someone cannot say you spam them because you sent them a nice video talking about this book. It's good information. Share it until we grow this community to larger numbers. I'm sorry I cannot afford it, because even age 47 is not enough. 25 people is too few. We need a bigger number. Like I would have to pay over I think they said 2,500 or something to get to the large number that will benefit from that account. But I don't have that right now. So please support this channel, support this message, come to the lives, share, let's grow it. I know you will benefit from it because that's my intention. Other things will happen too. I'm ending this one. Please leave a comment. Like. The liking is not happening. You are leaving the comment, but you're forgetting to like. Please like the video, because that's also a message to YouTube that this is a good video over here. Promote it some more. Leave a comment, share it. Like I always end them. Take a good care of yourself. Take very good care of your families. Take very good care of your health, because we want you healthy, right? Take a step to a better you. Bye-bye.